Creatr Waves, now loading.
Illustrators and skateboarders have quite a few things in common. One of those things is that they spend a lot of their time in isolation exploring their craft, whether that be drawing on a piece of paper or doing moves on a skateboard. Ruben Tevreden, who does both, highlights his experiences in both worlds and more. So what would you define as your style as an illustrator?
Like the visual style, or it's like my topics, or what?
I would say like the visual style and I guess the philosophy behind it, the ideas behind it.
I really appreciate like craftsmanship. So guys that can really like master what they're doing. Like they know their anatomy, they know their composition and stuff like that. So I really focused on that during my still now and during my art school phase. So I get really inspired by guys like James Jean that are just incredible visual artists, work on large scale, small scale. They can just do a little bit of everything, but you can really see their that they made it and that they know what they're doing as well. So I think that's really important for the way that I want my work to be seen and what I aspire to be in the future as well. And the philosophy, I'm not sure really. It's just like I kind of just don't want to overthink it, because I think once you get really into your head about what you're making, it doesn't become it becomes inauthentic, I guess. So it's just whatever inspires me at the moment. I make something about, and I try not to get in my head too much, because I have a habit of doing that already. So if I start overdoing that, it's probably not a good idea. So
what happens when you overdo it or you overthink it?
I think it just shows in the work. At least for me, I know that if I like just sit on a piece and keep thinking about it 2 weeks in a row, it comes out and I'm not happy with it, and then it just it doesn't look as good to me. Maybe it's just because I've been looking at it too much, or it needs to be a little bit spontaneous and it just be in the moment. And if it doesn't work at that time, I just leave it, and then I come back 2 weeks later, and then maybe something better comes out. But I know that if I spend too much time about thinking about the work, it loses its quality to me, at least.
Yeah. So with whatever illustration you're making, does it start with the ideas, or does it start with some form of value system that you then build around, or is it just, okay, this is something I see in my head and I just want to convert that into this particular visual?
Yeah, I think it's more of the second. Like it's just a moment or something that I'm thinking about, and just like, let's just try to make something with it. And it's usually in the first 15 minutes of the idea that I'm just sketching stuff out. I know if this is an idea I want to pursue, or this is something I just leave for what it is. But usually just starts with an idea or a moment, and I try to figure out, like, puzzle a bit with it, and sometimes it works, and very often it doesn't. But
So like, do you get satisfaction from the process of creating, or do you get more satisfaction from the outcome of you creating?
Um, it feels a little taboo to say, but I like having something finished, and especially like I'm starting to work with prints and stuff like that now, and it's really satisfying to just have a finished drawing up on the wall and have it have a final product. I feel like you should enjoy the process more than than I sometimes am. But it's probably like 60-40, 60 result, 40 process. So it's a mix.
Okay.
Yeah, because art sometimes it's a cliche, but it's suffering sometimes, man. Sometimes you have this idea and you see it in your head, but on the paper it's something completely different, and you're just muscling through it and it doesn't work. So sometimes the process just sucks. So the result is definitely more satisfying than the process sometimes.
Right. Do those percentages ever change, or is it always 60 outcome 40 process?
It depends on the process. Sometimes the process just flies and you're in the zone, and that feels really good. And then it's definitely more process than result. And there's moments where the process is amazing and the result sucks as well. So it definitely changes. But yeah, it's I like the results. I guess it's very satisfying to fill a sketchbook, and I'm sure people can relate to that. Just having a feeling of accomplishment, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah. So when you're creating art illustrations, what type of environment are you setting? Are you creating? Are you someone that likes music? Do you like silence?
Oh yeah, definitely music. Definitely music. A lot of my energy to start a work usually comes when I listen to a good song or something like that. It's a bit, I haven't quite figured it out why that is, but that works for me. And I've currently a really nice studio place, and now I'm not there, so that's a shame. But it's I have some nice speakers there, and nice quiet place where I can really focus on my work. So it's really really amazing.
So what are you listening to? What music?
It varies a lot. I've been really into Flume lately. I listen to a lot of hip hop and a lot of electronic music as well, and sometimes I'm into Iron Maiden as well. So it's a really really broad spectrum of music, but just whatever I'm into feeling at the moment. It's very nice to have a large library to pick from.
Yeah. So where do you get your inspiration from? Where does inspiration find you, or do you actually go and find it?
Well, now that it's becoming a larger part of my my job as well, I don't really have the luxury to just not be inspired anymore for one day, because the client expects results. So I try to create a method about finding inspiration, but sometimes it's just sitting down and then just try your best. When it comes more organically, it's kind of random. It's just whatever is going on right now. Like currently, I'm watching the NBA Finals, which really inspires me in a way. So I drew Giannis and CP3. Yeah. So that's been fun. And sometimes it's just I've been feeling pretty down during the whole Corona day. So that's weirdly inspired me as well. So it's just whatever's going on at the moment.
Yeah. So NBA Finals, who do you have?
Man, it's difficult, man. I'm a Dallas fan, so that's kind of, they went out to the first round, very painful. But man, it would be sick to see CP3 win a ring at this age. So I'm going for the Suns right now.
I think this is probably it might be his last chance. It might. Yeah,
exactly, man. Like they got really lucky so far, and the team looking solid with all the guys on there. But yeah, man, this finals you can't go wrong. Giannis is an amazing player and an amazing person as well. So it's win-win for me either way.
Yeah. Speaking of just the lockdown, how was that experience for you?
It's been hard, man, because before the lockdown, I was in art school, and with the whole Willem de Koning in Rotterdam.
Okay.
It's a great school, but I had some philosophical differences with the way they were teaching, so it was kind of falling apart at the same time. So I went to being in a room with my classmates the whole day to just nothing in my studio alone. So I got really in my my head about that, and the weather here in the Netherlands isn't isn't the greatest, so that doesn't help. So yeah, it was pretty tough, but we seem to be making it through right now. We're nearing the end, I hope. So we'll see how it goes.
You're still in lockdown?
Yeah, man. I don't want to get too much in the politics of what my government is doing right now, but they kind of screwed up a lot of things, and they kind of half locked down the entire way. So it was kind of nice, but now we're still in it. So it's kind of, I'd rather have like a full lockdown and it'd be over sooner. But it is what it is, and we deal with it.
How do you feel? Do you feel like the lockdown period added to your creativity, or did it take away?
I guess it's a bit of both, maybe, because I understand that a lot of people similar to me felt like it really gave them a time to focus, and like there's not a lot of distractions going on. But yeah, I've been pretty lucky that I had a nice studio place, though I could get my quiet time whenever I wanted. It was more that like the real mental energy you get from being around people was completely gone from me. So it wasn't. I think it was more negative than positive for me, if I'm being honest. But yeah, it had this
isolation.
Yeah, that isolation was surprisingly tough for me. I'm a bit of a loner usually, but I really noticed that wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So it was. I really got energy from being around people, and that energy was, as you can imagine, completely gone. So it was tough, but you make the best of it.
Yeah. So what did you do to stay sane? Like, what type of things were you doing on a daily basis?
I got a couple commissions at a few months, so suddenly I was just super busy for 3 months, which was amazing. It really gave me a time to get like back in the saddle and then start working on my personal stuff as well. But it was kind of the down period where I didn't have too much motivation, and it was like I drew once a week maybe. I felt good, and then suddenly I had a lot of work, so I had stuff to do. And when the weather got better in the summer and in the spring, I went skateboarding a lot, which was the skate park was still open here, the outdoor one, so that was great. And I'm doing that a lot still right now. So.
Yeah. Skateboarding. So what is it about skateboarding that interests you so much? What attracts you to skateboarding?
Yeah, it feels kind of stupid to say that's a loaded question, because in the end it's just playing with a toy outside. But it's just something I've been doing. It maybe it is and it isn't. You know, it's like one of those things. Like drawing is just.
It is, but it isn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just like drawing in a way. Like the end of the day, we're just kids putting stuff on paper with. Maybe it's bigger than that, maybe it's not.
When you zoom out, you understand there's a bigger...
Exactly, yeah.
Yes, there's a bigger purpose. But the action is simple, but the impact on just life and just overall approach to life is a lot bigger. That's why I wanted to know what you think about it.
Yeah, cool. I can talk about skateboarding for hours, man. It's it's my favorite thing to do for sure. I've been doing it since I've been I don't even know, 10 years old. And 10 years old. And after I moved to Amsterdam, I had a similar period to kind of like I skated when I moved from a smaller town here. I skated back there, and then when I moved to Amsterdam, kind of my friends were too far to. I was like 13, 14 at that age, and I got really into computer games and was inside a lot, and it was not great for me. So I rediscovered my skateboard again, And after that, yeah, it's been full blast ever since. Really get like, yeah, I have so many friends that skateboard. I have an example for I just applied for an artist community. So I'm moving in a couple of weeks, so my room is a mess right now, as you can maybe see.
Yeah.
But the way I got in there is because I had two friends that I knew from skateboarding. They're also in photography, and the other's a DJ, and they knew a person there. So you have this really large network and variety of people. This morning, or yesterday morning, I skated in the morning with a 60-year-old climber and a 16-year-old high school kid. And in the evening, I was skating with like a couple 25-year-olds. And then later in the evening, I'm skating with another 40-year-old girl and a couple high school kids as well. So it's just like this super large network of different people that you come in contact with. And that's really special about skateboarding for me. Besides, of course, it's being fun to do.
Yeah.
But, it's really cool.
It's really, like you just explaining that now shows that it transcends age. You know, it transcends gender. It transcends so many things.
Yeah.
And it kind of connects to other things too, other interests. You said that someone DJs and someone you know, so like there's so many other within the skateboard community, there's so many other things that people do as well. And I guess
I think skateboarding is inherently something that's pretty creative. So I think definitely in the Netherlands, where half of the year skateboarding is just not possible with all the rain that's going on, they find other outlets to do. So now with skateboarding, I have friends that I go to museums with. I have friends I play guitar with. I do photography with. I know them from art school. I know them from high school, and we do still art things together. So yeah, it's really cool like that.
Yeah, it's like it extends the connection you have with people, because it then skateboarding with someone can then lead to you doing other things that you also enjoy or you like to indulge in.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just connects. So what are the parallels between skateboarding and like illustration? And what would you say are the what distinguishes the two as well?
That's a good question. Yeah, like I said, I think skateboarding is really, really creative. I think it's often closer to dance than it is to, I don't know, basketball than people might expect.
Okay.
It's really,
why would you say that? Why would you say that? That before? Because
skateboarding is really really about movement, and it's a lot about style and not necessarily it's also about the tricks you do, but it's also very much about how you do them. There's a wrong way to do a trick and there's a right way to do a trick.
Like balance?
Yeah, it's really visual thing, so it's hard to explain. But for example, there's a grab where you go through the air and you grab your skateboard with your hand, and the wrong way to do it is grab between your hands, and the right way to do it is like grab beside your knee. So it's like a super small detail, but if you talk to a real skater, they say like, he's doing it wrong and he's doing it right. Like he has no style and he does. And there's a lot of small things like that. And some things you can describe, some things you can't, sometimes just a feeling. And I feel like in that way, skateboarding really is all about, interpretation as well. Like sometimes you just don't like how somebody skates and there's nothing you can convince, and sometimes you don't like a painting and you don't know why, just you don't feel it. And
it's you get from it doesn't connect.
Yeah, something like that. And you can try to put your finger on it, and some people are good at describing it, and some aren't. It's it's a bit of an ethereal thing, I guess. But
You either know it or you don't, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
It's
And
like
some people
you
don't
have to
care,
go
and that's
through
good as well. Yeah,
like you have to go through it to know. If you don't go through
yeah,
it, you don't
exactly.
really understand.
Yeah. It's part of it.
Well, yeah, going back to art, illustration, skateboarding, parallels, what
Yeah.
distinguishes the two.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of crossovers between skateboarding creatively and any other field. I think, yeah, one of the reasons I draw now is because of skateboarding, and it's like because I saw cool pictures on the bottom of the board, or I saw like a magazine that had a drawing in it, or there are skateboarders that draw like, oh, maybe I can, if maybe I'm not the best skateboarder, but I can be in skateboarding by drawing things, or my friends that drew. So
That's kind of
it's really
like, so that's like, okay, you're not the greatest skateboarder, but there's an element of the skateboarding experience where you can add to it because you might be good at drawing, or you might be good at, I don't know, graffiti or something that's connected to the skateboarding.
Yeah, graffiti actually is a large part of it. Graffiti was also the skate, but I started out not drawing but doing graffiti actually, so that's probably a more clear connection as well. But yeah, definitely. And for the record, I'm a good skater, by the way.
Oh yeah,
I
of course.
skate. But yeah, totally. It's like after a while you find out like yeah. yeah. You find out that like there's not as much money in skateboarding for me as I've hoped, so you find other avenues to create as well and be involved, and that's what I'm doing.
But it becomes a vehicle, though. That's the thing. It becomes a vehicle.
Definitely, 100%. But yeah, as far as parallels go, or like differences. I don't know. It's like for me, it's something that's so connected. I can't even like separate the two. It's for me, my day in the last few months has been go skateboard in the morning. I go to my studio to draw. I go back to the skate park, and I go home, take a shower, and finish some drawings and some emails for drawing. So it's like there's no real separations for me at this point.
So what similarities are there? Like what characteristics of illustration are similar to the characteristics of skateboarding? Like what intangibles? I think even things like intangibles. What intangibles are required as an illustrator that are also required as a skateboarder?
I think you have to be a bit of a weirdo to to skate and to draw as well, and you have to be a bit of be able to do things on your own. Like drawing and skateboarding are both in a way really isolated activities. Like you're not in a team when you skateboard, and when you draw, you're usually alone as well. And it's very possible to connect through skateboarding. Like I'm skateboarding with my friends, and I'm drawing with my friends. I'm sharing drawings with my friends. But at the end of the day, you're on your skateboard and you're drawing on the paper. So it's like in that way, it's very much an isolated experience. And you have to be a weirdo because not everybody is gonna spend 10 hours a day on a skateboard, and not everybody's gonna draw 10 hours a day because they find that important for some reason. And I think that's a large part of it. Being a weirdo is good, so definitely, definitely that part.
Being crazy enough to skateboard for hours and hours.
Yeah, for years and years. It's you can't really justify it at the end of the day, but we still do it anyway.
Yeah. So what about the social aspect of it? So with skateboarding as a community, right? So as someone that creates art and illustrations, there's a community aspect of that too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I always recommend people to when they yeah, I don't know, when they feel lonely, I guess, is to get passionate about something, because you really find a group of people around you really quick once you start getting invested in something. And I think skateboarding more so than art, because skateboarding really is you go to a location and everybody there is there to skateboard, so you can really connect over that. But art, definitely now with social media, it's really cool to like find this. I was reading a book and there was this illustrator in there from Lithuania, and I was like, oh man, this works amazing. Let me look him up on Instagram. I follow him, and then he follows me back, and now we chat a bit, and all of a sudden I have this connection with this guy in Lithuania that makes great art, and we can connect over that. I don't remember. It was in art school a couple of years ago.
Okay.
It was it was like an exposition book. But yeah, Matthias, if he's out there, shout out to you. He's a great illustrator as well.
Yeah. Within your portfolio, what piece is your favorite?
Man, you're gonna make me do this, man.
I'm making you choose out of your children.
Damn. I have no idea, man. I already have a hard time coming up with, like, in my head which drawings I made.
What okay, maybe pick 3 that you've done maybe this year that you when you created it you were really like happy about.
Let me pull up my Instagram, man. Well, actually, my most recent drawing, I did like this spread of the Bucks and of Giannis and Chris Paul. I was really happy with that, how that turned out, and it was super fun to make, because I kind of feel like just to be crass, nobody in the Netherlands really cares about basketball, sadly. We're all super tall, but nobody cares about basketball.
That's strange.
So yeah, it's super weird. It's a shame. But that also there is one, but the Dutch national teams, actually they did really well in the 3x3 competition. They beat the US, so it's coming up, but on Instagram, most of my followers are Dutch, so there was no pressure whatsoever to think like, I already know this post is on Instagram, like it's not gonna perform, I'm not gonna get any likes, so whatever, I'm just gonna have fun with this drawing, because that kind of sometimes clouds my process, like, oh, I have to put this out and it has to get so many likes or I won't get more work or whatever. But there was nothing of this.
You have to forget about that. You just have to focus on what it is.
You have to, but you can't, It's like it's always there, even if you want it to be or not. But for this, I already knew it was going to be terrible, because none of my friends care about basketball, so it's just going to be up there, and I'm going to be happy with the process.
The thing is, you'll be surprised, because someone from a different part of the world will see it and share it, then it gets to the people that do care about it.
Yeah, hopefully. So it was just wishful thinking, I guess, and just put it out there, and if nothing happens, I had fun with it, and so that for creating a drawing, that was super fun. I'm scrolling now.
I like the one you did for Toasty. You recreated.
The Kanye one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun as well. And I sent it to him, and he was like super cool, and he liked it as well. So it was a really cool experience. I got a couple nice messages about that. So yeah, I'll pick that one as well. I just scrolled over that one too. Yeah. And listen to that mashup album. It's amazing.
I did. Yeah, I did. I listened to it around the same time I saw what you put out for that.
Ah, cool.
So it was around the same time. So that's the Giannis one, the CP3 one. than the Kanye one.
Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah. Sorry to the other drawings. I like you guys too.
Okay. The Netherlands. You know, I grew up watching football, and I was always I always would watch the Netherlands play in different different competitions like the Euros and the World Cups and what have you. How has living in the Netherlands influenced like your creativity and your approach to just life as a whole?
Man, it's a heavy question, man. Like, yeah, it's like kind of like asking like, how has water influenced the fish? You know, like I don't know. It's been there the entire time, but I think in a way, like I'm a skateboarder, so I hate rain. If it rains, you can't skate. But because it rains so much, you're kind of forced to find other things to do as well. If I lived in California, maybe I wouldn't be able to draw like I did because I would be at the skate park all day. So I think,
or maybe you might bring your drawings to the skate park.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
You
But I'd probably be skating, man. If I'm being honest, I'm a bit lazy like that. But yeah, I think like the weather was kind of like a blessing in disguise in that way. And but yeah, the Netherlands isn't all great. Sadly, there's a lot of like bigotry and racism in this country as well. So that's a bit tough. I lived in a small village for a long time where I was like the only black kid, so it made me stand out. But yeah, you take the good with the bad, man. It's a great country and it's a bad country at the same time, like any country, I think. And it has a lot of good things going for it, definitely.
Yeah, that's interesting because where it's just like you're in a country where the weather has an influence on when you can do what you like to do. So it's like you have to work around it, but then it leads you to then explore other things as well.
Yeah, it's to the point where I'm kind of looking around to move out of the country as well, just to experience different things. But it's to the point where I'm afraid it will affect my creative process, because now the weather is great, but I know that in 2 days it's probably going to rain again for 2 days, and I know I can just finish my work then. I can take it easy for a few days. I can go skate. I can draw a few hours in the morning and then enjoy my day, because in 3 days, who knows what the weather is going to be, and I'll probably be inside stuck drawing for 12 hours a day. So I can just do my work then. And if I move something where the weather is great, that won't happen anymore. So I really have to get more disciplined. That's harder than just saying that.
You're afraid to disrupt your creative process that you developed in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I'm afraid to be have to look in the mirror and see I'm not as disciplined as I should be, because the weather made me kind of lazy sometimes.
Yes, that's an interesting way of looking at it for sure. What did you learn about yourself during the lockdown period?
Well, definitely, I always thought about myself as a loner. Like I can be in my studio for a week at a time, and I can just be listening to my music, drawing, and doing my own thing. But definitely now that I've had that for longer than a week, I learned that like this I really need to be around people as well. It's not it really yeah, it was pretty intense how that affected me at some points. I had no idea I was like that, and that was it. Really made me value my friends and my people around me a lot more, which is definitely a good thing. I thought it was like, sometimes it felt like, I'll go visit my. I know how you all felt like, oh man, I have to go visit my grandma and I have to go all the way over there. But now, like, oh man, I can't wait to go visit my grandma. And I know it's like this is something I'm gonna keep in my program because I know how good it makes me feel. And I didn't know. You don't know how much you need something until it's gone. It's super cliche, but yeah, it was definitely gone and it was very hard. And I know now that I was being a selfish prick at times and not valuing the people around me enough. So that's a good lesson to learn. And I guess I got out of that in a good way. It's not too late to to do anything about that. So in that way, it was a very healing experience, but it was very difficult.
Absolutely. Do you think you've grown as a result?
Yeah, I like to say so. I mean, the time will tell. But yeah, I like to think so.
So what things are you working on now as far as just art? Because I remember seeing on a story you put up that one of your pieces was put in like a subway, like you call it subway? Or do you
yeah. Well, it was in just a pedestrian tunnel.
Oh,
so it was. There's an organization called Publieke Werken Rotterdam. They founded last year when they saw that no festivals, no shows were going on. So all these big commercial boards were all empty, and they thought like, let's invite some artists and to just submit some work they have, and we put it in these boards. So it was a super cool experience, and I met a lot of cool artists, and some of my art school teachers even joined the competition. So it was really crazy to see my work next to my teachers in this public exposition. And that was super cool. I'm trying to get my work more out there, and this was a good way to do that. And besides that, currently I'm in the middle of a move, so that's kind of putting a lot of my work on hold.
okay.
I'm moving to an artist kind of co-living space, so I'm super excited about that. But it's busy in Amsterdam still, but at the other side of the city.
Okay. What was the reasoning behind?
Definitely the pandemic, actually, because I noticed just how hard it was to create on my own. I'm used to sitting in this big room with all my art school friends, and we're all drawing at the same thing at the same time, and sometimes on the same project. And now, I was all alone, and I had to get my energy from myself. And it's much easier to just be around other creative people and kind of stimulate each other. So I applied for that, and I luckily got in, and I got a nice room there. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. How much do you think about the business side of being an illustrator as to creative side?
I think about it a lot, but I have a really hard time putting that stuff into practice. So I know very often what the right thing is to do to get my work out there, but then doing that kind of feels like, I don't know, you're selling yourself short in a way, and this stuff should happen organically, and my work should just speak for itself, and all that stuff that makes no sense in the end of the day. But it's I think about it a lot, and I'm lucky that I got a woman helping me with the business side of my work, and I'm working on it. It's a work in progress, definitely. It's very hard for me. I'm very much a guy that likes to put his head down and just draw. And
side, right?
Yeah, but sadly that doesn't make a lot of money. So you have to do both.
Yeah. Absolutely. Where, like, how far does illustrations extend for you? Like, where do you see you taking what you're doing now to where you could take it going forward? Like, what other mediums do you think you can take this into?
The art school I went to kind of trained you in a way to not look at illustration as just drawing on a paper. So, for example, we had projects where we had to work in 3D, had to work with cutting paper, folding things, building things. So I'm lucky in a way that I don't really see any limits for there myself. But I am somebody, like I said, I like the craftsmanship part of it, and I'm really inspired when I look at work of like being Dutch, of the old Dutch masters who just made these incredible detailed large scale paintings or small, like just super skillful work. So I think that's probably the direction I will keep heading in. I'm currently practicing with doing mural work as well. I really like this interaction with the public and having my work in a public space and see how they react to it, and have this discourse with the neighborhood and have their input on your process. So that's the short term goal is getting good at that. Definitely now that the weather is still nice out.
Yeah.
So that's. If that goes well, you'll see that on my Instagram in the near future. But, who knows?
Yeah. So what things do you think you could add to your arsenal already? Like, is there anything that you would like to develop that can just add to add to your skill set?
Mm-hmm.
That could kind of
definitely
bring things to another level.
Yeah, I definitely want to learn how to paint. I'm a drawer right now, so I work with pencil and ink, and I fill that then in digitally. So I work on paper first. I scan those or take a photo, and then I put them in Photoshop and finish them. But I do really want to learn how to make canvases and murals and stuff like that. So that's really an active process for me right now. Besides that, I don't know. It's really just whatever comes to me right now. I'm still, at least it feels like I'm very early in my creative career, I guess, and I'm kind of open to whatever comes to my path. I try to be anyway.
Yeah. That's I feel like that's really important, to be open to explore, be an explorer.
Mm-hmm.
Artists are explorers. Skateboarders are explorers. Skateboarders will go to like a random location for no reason.
yeah, definitely.
And you ask
There's
them,
a lot of regret in both.
Why did you do it? They'll just be like, "Oh, I had a feeling that I needed to." I just went.
Yeah, man, it's definitely. I ended up in like some random town in Kosovo and Sarajevo one time in Bosnia just to skateboard. So it takes you all over the world, and art is the same in that way. So for sure.
Do skateboarders use GoPros a lot? Or
Yeah. I have a friend that has a successful YouTube channel, Skateboard Bro. Shout out to him. And he uses GoPro a lot. Sorry?
What was the channel?
Skateboard Bro.
Okay.
Skateboard and then BRUH.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy, and we go on trips a lot. But yeah, he's a filmer. Like he takes that stuff pretty seriously. He studied for that as well. So yeah, he has them. I'm not much of a. I don't really like to film when I skate. I kind of just like
You like to just do
to
it.
skate. Yeah, I'm a purist like that. But
So,
it's
so
yeah, it's
would
definitely out there.
would you get other people to document? Like, say if you were skateboarding somewhere, right? And the place is like really, really a really, really interesting place, right? With loads of interesting things in the environment. Would
Yeah.
you ask others to document you whilst you
Yeah,
skateboard?
usually that's like everybody has a phone nowadays, so it's often like I'm usually the guy and they ask to film stuff because I don't
Oh,
want to be
okay.
filmed usually. So
Right, okay.
it's of course if you're in a really cool place, you get the small clip here and there just to keep the memories, you know. But it's not something I do a lot. Maybe in the future I will make like a little video to remember. I used to be able to go to skate because I'm getting older as well, sadly. But yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah, this was really good.
Yeah, this was
Really
fun.
good.
Yeah.
I've definitely learned a lot from just your experience as someone that creates art and someone that pretty much uses skateboarding as an outlet or as something that can complement the art that you create as well. And
For sure, for sure.
I had a feeling that your day would consist of like skateboarding in the morning, and then during the day you would, create
Yeah.
and then go back to. I had a feeling that it was like that because I used to watch a lot of like skateboarding documentaries on like Red Bull TV.
Dope. Yeah.
I used to like spend like a whole day just watching Red Bull TV, Red Bull TV documentaries, videos and stuff. So yeah, I think a skateboarder's day to day is really underrated. I think it's
Yeah,
underrated.
it's
I think it should be documented a lot more.
yeah, it's we're in an interesting time as far as skateboarding is concerned right now. Like now, we also have the Olympics coming up, so you have this like now this split of between this super hardcore skaters really go to like training facilities and stuff like that and really watch what they eat. And then at the other side of the camp, you have the kind of the guys like me, sadly, that go to the skate park and drink a beer and have some fries and then and then go home.
It's like the esports athletes, or it's like the esports players or the video game players. It's like
Well, not really even because like what's a good analogy? In skateboarding, you have this concept. Skateboarding, basically, if you break it down, it's people might hate me for this, but it's all a lot of the money is just branding. So there's this concept of you make a video, this video goes out there connected to a brand, like all the guys on this team that get stuff from, let's say, Flip Skateboarding. They all film tricks together. They go out, they put it in a video, and that's of course promotion at the end of the day for your brand. But that making of that video is a really creative process. Like one of my favorite video parts is from Mark Suchu, Verso. Came out a couple years ago. Super creative skater, super smart, bright guy from New York. And he's super creative. He goes to a spot and he does this really weird thing. But if he goes in a contest, he wouldn't come near the top 3. He's probably one of the best skaters in the world, but he wouldn't come near the top 3. And the same with Dan van der Linde, Grant Taylor, all these incredible skateboarders. They are really just in this for the creative part of this, and just and I think it's really, and then you have the contest side of it. It's a whole different skill set. Like if you connect it to painting and drawing, if you do a contest, if we can make the best painting in the world, just have a painting and then make something beautiful out of it. You can judge the color, you can judge the creative process, you can judge all these things. But if you limit it down to draw the best horse, you can really zoom in. Oh, he's good at anatomy, and you can train those skills. You can really train to get good at drawing a horse. But there's a lot more things to draw than just drawing a horse. And Olympics is really drawing a horse, and skateboarding in general is making a nice painting.
Right.
So it's much broader than that.
It's more.
That's a whole another 1 hour 1 hour conversation we could have about that. So,
yeah. The Olympics is like restricting. It's like in a restricted space, and then skateboarding outside of that is more expansive and.
Yeah, because what's really happening now is you get a lot of people from a young age, especially in the countries that take Olympics very seriously, like Russia and China and stuff like that. They get a lot of 6-year-old kids in a room, and they say, you go paint a horse for 8 hours a day for the next 5 years. And then when the Olympics come, we have a lot of good horse painters. But then after that, they won't be good painters because they can only paint the horse. And it's I'm kind of driving this analogy in the ground. But I think you know what I'm saying. Yeah,
I understand.
It's but still, it's cool.
You think they should like diversify the competitions within the Olympics for skateboarding, like maybe freestyles or maybe something that mirrors like the real life skateboarding experience.
You shouldn't listen to me. You should just do what you want. But I don't think competitions are really good for skateboarding in general. And I would just the Dutch competitions at least used to be. I'm not sure how they will be now, but it's just like we're gonna skate for an hour, and the guy who we think skated the best at the end gets a 6-pack of beer, and that's the competition. I like that much more than have this really strict setting. But other people thrive in that, and the result is that we now get this beautiful, nice new skate park in Amsterdam because there's a lot more money now that it's Olympic. So it's
so it does benefit the guys that can just be more adventurous with how they skateboard.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's all you take the good with the bad, and
because of the infrastructure gets built because of the horse.
The horses are carrying us at the end of the day.
You kind of need the horse to be painted so the infrastructure can be built, so the other guys can do other things.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of it is what it is. I'd rather you have to choose, like, do you want this nice skate park with a lot of horses, or do you want to be in your small little skate park, but skateboarding stays pure? And I don't know.
Yep. There you have
it. Shout out to horses.
Horses.